She is the most beautiful and the most expensive prostitute in town. Every day, there are countless men holding the number plate of love, waiting to have a 10-minute conversation with her. But one day, a young man spent twice as much money to find the right one, just to talk to Anjali face to face. At first, Anjali thought she was going to play a love game, so she put on her clothes and then lay down on the soft bed. However, the man did not move, but said in an extremely pure and happy way, "I did not come here to have a relationship with you, but to make you promise to marry me. I promise to let you have a good life in the future." But for such sweet words, Anjali has heard too much, so she did not take it to heart. Just at this time, Anjali invited the man out of the room. Unexpectedly, the next day, the man spent twice as much money to come and still just asked Anjali to marry him. Although she still did not believe that he would marry a prostitute, but Anjali's attitude was no longer as cold as last time. When the man left, she happily said, but when it came to the third time, Anjali's attitude became even worse, because she found that the man really wanted to marry her, but she would never allow herself to fall into such a gentle trap. So, in order to completely get rid of the other person's idea, Anjali said coldly, "I have no feeling for you at all. You are just a low-ranking person who has no power or power. What future can I have with you?" Listening to her words, Mike felt that his whole heart was trampled, so he sadly turned around and left. And through the window, looking at Mike's gradually fading back, Anjali's heart was shaken again. It turned out that she didn't really look down on Mike, but from the beginning of her life, she dared not believe any man again. At the age of 13, Anjali, who was a private maid, was driven out of her home with her mother. Due to the loss of the source of income, her mother wanted to pawn her jewelry for money, but was told that the jewelry was cheap glass, not real diamonds or diamonds. Her mother never thought that marriage was not only a fake relationship, but also a fake gift. But she didn't have the right to argue with anyone, so she had to eat this duck. Later, in order to make money to support Anjali, her mother, who couldn't do anything, had to start a leather business. However, she had a hard life. Not long after, her mother died of illness. Anjali, who was alone and helpless, was sold to a man who had the same hobby as her. When she was brought up, she was forced to dress up as a farmer. As a result, the first guest she met was her own father. In the face of not recognizing her father, Anjali did not choose to remind her, because she wanted this devil to bear the blame of the wheel. She never thought that her father would choose to commit suicide after learning the truth. Since then, Anjali has become a cold-blooded tool pushed away by fate. Until this day, with the help of a kind sister, she escaped the suffocating prison and boarded a ship to the west. On the ship, she was pulled into the fire by 2 other women and did business with several men. As a result, 2 women who were not greedy enough took her away and robbed her of her old money. Anjali thought that she could regain freedom and a new life unexpectedly. Fate would not let her go. In the end, she was taken into the prison and became a toy in the cage again. On the contrary, she bought a farm and tried to make a living. However, she lived her life. The only regret is that there was no one she loved to watch the sun rise and set with her. Therefore, she began to go to church every day to pray for a good fate. Perhaps God really felt her sincerity and let her deliver goods to the city that day. She met Anjali, who rarely came out. At first glance, she was sure that he was the one she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. Although her friend reminded her that he was a prostitute in a brothel and was not suitable to marry her, she did not care at all and even bought Anjali's time at a double price the next day. Anjali, who had suffered a lot, no longer believed any man. But after Mike's reminder, he felt that he should not stay in the brothel anymore. So he immediately found Anjali and prepared to pay back the hard-earned money and live a free life. But it turned out that he was too naive. Since he was in the Red City, his money was no longer his money, and even his life was no longer his own. And Anjali could not easily let go of this money tree, so Anjali did not take back a penny and was dragged into the room and scolded hard. In fact, in this hell known as heaven, Anjali has been beaten countless times, but every time he would quickly apologize. So every time he was not seriously injured, but this time he was like crazy, constantly provoking the master of the storm, causing himself to be badly injured. At the same time, Mike in his sleep felt the pain of Anjali like a telepath. So he got up at night and rushed back to the town, and when he saw Anjali lying on the bed, he immediately continued to help her. Since Anjali could not receive guests, so the old man agreed. After the old man left, Mike couldn't help asking Anjali again if she was willing to marry him. And this time Anjali answered yes. So Mike took Anjali back to the farm. He thought they would live a happy life together. But when Anjali woke up, he not only took off the ring Mike was wearing, but also said, "I won't stay here for too long because I don't want to be a slave of marriage, I don't want to help you wash clothes and cook for free, and I don't want to sleep with you for free." And Mike put the ring back in front of Anjali and said that marriage is not a slave. "I marry you not because I want you to serve me, but because I like you." Although his words were very sincere, Anjali still refused to believe. 3 weeks later, Anjali was fully recovered. The next day, when he saw Mike going out, he immediately took off his clothes and ran away from this place. When Mike found out, he quickly rode his horse to catch up with him. Since Anjali was walking ahead, Mike quickly caught up with him. Anjali thought she was going to be taken back, and not only was she angry, but she also slapped him. She said angrily, "I'm not your everything, I can go wherever I want. You don't have the right to restrain me." Unexpectedly, Mike just wanted to give her water and clothes. After all, the temperature in the mountains is very low at night, and the farm is 20 miles away from the town. If there is no water and clothes, Anjali, who was seriously ill, may die on the road. In fact, if you really want to let Anjali go, Mike can take her back to the city, but Mike doesn't want her to go back and don't want to force her to stay. So he gave her two choices. Go 19 miles ahead and you can go back to the town. There are brothels and old treasures waiting for you. Go back 1 mile and you can go home. There are food and your husband. You have two choices. After saying this, she left. At night, Anjali returned to the farm. Mike didn't say anything, just gave the hot food to the other person. Then he brought a basin of warm water and sat down to wipe Anjali's feet. Anjali, who has never been so taken care of and contacted, suddenly had a complex emotion. She really wanted to believe the gentleman in front of her. In addition to feelings, he really didn't want anything else for himself. But the experience of the past reminds her again and again that men have no love for women, only play, and try to show tenderness and secrets. It's just a bait released by hunting. Once the hunt is successful, the prototype is exposed. Thinking of this, Anjali calmed down. Then she put out a seductive gesture and took the initiative to send her prey to the hunter. But what surprised her was that Mike was a real man. The next day, Anjali, who had nothing to do, decided to rely on labor to pay back Mike's lantern. Although she didn't want the husband-wife relationship to become an employer-employee relationship, Mike still agreed. In the following days, the two started a simple farm life. In the morning, they went to the chicken shed to collect eggs. In the afternoon, they cut firewood and cooked together. In the afternoon, they went to the river to fish together. In the evening, Anjali still tried to seduce Mike. But Mike could only pretend to be a stray dog and use cold water to put out the fire. This late at night, Anjali suddenly woke up from a nightmare. Mike didn't want her to continue to be entangled by nightmares, so he took her to the top of the mountain. As the first ray of dawn broke through the darkness, Mike firmly said to Anjali, "Although I don't know what you've been through before, I want to give you a bright and colorful life in the future. I don't want you to be hurt again, and I don't want you to be torn by the past forever, because you deserve a better life." If Anjali's heart is a dark valley, then Mike is the sun that sheds her dark soul. After this day, Anjali finally opened her heart and accepted Mike's feelings. And Mike has been waiting for this moment. Before, he always refused Anjali's proposal because he didn't want to stain their relationship. Because in his opinion, only two people who love each other can do it, otherwise there is no difference between them. Now they have finally determined their feelings for each other, and they will go hand in hand. Anjali, who has done this for countless times, also tasted the rain for the first time. However, the happy days are just about to begin, and she was suddenly interrupted by an uninvited guest. A year ago, Anjali, who lived with Mike in the farm, died of illness and could not bear the pain of his death. Since then, Anjali has left the farm, but due to the difficulty of surviving abroad, she had no choice but to come back. At first, when she heard the news that Mike was married, she was surprised, but it was more of a blessing. However, when she saw Anjali, she instantly recognized the most expensive prostitute in town. She also believed that Anjali must have deceived Mike. Otherwise, the two of them could not have known each other, and it was impossible to get married. In order not to let this relationship continue, Paula warned Anjali when Mike went abroad. "You, a dirty woman, don't deserve a pure and kind Mike. If you still have a little conscience, you should leave her as soon as possible. Don't ruin her second half of her life. She even poured the hot tea in her hand into Anjali's cup. This is a kind of provocation and an insult. But even so, she still felt that it was not enough. So she found Mike and reminded him straightly that you may not know that you have been living here for a long time. Anjali is a scum of thousands of people. If someone knows that you are married to her, you will definitely be kicked out. In fact, when Paula and Anjali first met, Mike said the same thing: as long as no one takes the initiative to expose it, life can go on peacefully. But now Paula not only tore the truth apart, but also insulted Anjali in front of Mike. This made Mike unable to tolerate it. So he punched Paula in the face and calmly said, "For the sake of my sister, as long as you don't humiliate Anjali in the future, we will still be a family. I know you need supplies now, so I'll give you money and a carriage. You go to town tomorrow and go to church to repent." Finally, after persuading Paula, Mike went to comfort Anjali, who was injured. "Your past is not important to me at all. I just want to be with you in the future, have a family, have children," but I didn't know it was this sentence that confirmed Anjali's determination to leave. It turned out that when Anjali was following Gongjue, she was pregnant by accident, was forced to have an abortion, and was not qualified to be a mother. She even knew that she could not give Mike the life she wanted. So the next morning, Paula, who was ready to enter the city, left the farm. Unexpectedly, Paula got up in the middle of the night, and Anjali also wanted to make herself dirty and completely cut off the thought of going back to Mike. Therefore, the two of them, who had their own thoughts, had a dogfight in the wilderness. However, when they were about to arrive in the town, Paula, who wanted to save face, drove Anjali off the carriage again because she didn't want people to see that she and the golden girl appeared together, and Anjali, who could see through her thoughts, laughed after getting off the carriage. "Although I'm not a good person, I will never dare to be ungrateful. And you, while enjoying the material provided by Mike, while sleeping with his beloved woman, in the end, you still want to pretend to be a gentleman. You are really hypocritical." After saying that, Anjali didn't go back far. Originally, Anjali returned to the town to take back everything that belonged to her from Paula, but found the paradise that was once the top of her life. Now it has become a rubble. It turned out that more than a month ago, someone set fire to this place. Not only did Paula die in the netherworld, the two golden girls who had no time to escape were also burned to death. Anjali, who was nowhere to be found, and Anjali, who had no trace of her, turned to another PTK. And when Paula found out about this, Mike immediately found Anjali and forcibly took her out of the store. Although he knew that Anjali was in pain, he could understand her farewell. But Mike, who has always been strong, still couldn't help but cry in the middle of the night because he really didn't know what to do. He loved Anjali very much and wanted to save Anjali, but he didn't seem to have the ability to do so. Looking at the sad Mike, Anjali suddenly felt very dirty and jumped into the river to wash all night. When Mike found her, she had rubbed her whole body. Anjali said, "I don't know how to disperse them, and I don't know how to love people." And Mike told her with his own personal experience. Although it is difficult to completely abandon the past, as long as you have determination and will, you will be able to succeed. After this in-depth conversation, the two of them let go of the bottom of their hearts and lived a stable life again. Until the day they met a family of 4 with a broken carriage on the road. Since there was also a pregnant woman who was about to give birth, Mike and Anjali decided to take them in for the time being. A few days later, Anjali's aunt fell into the river and decided to settle down in this farm where she could not swim. Mike was very happy after hearing this because he really liked children. Whenever he was not busy, he would hold Anjali and not let go. Anjali confessed that she was pregnant and couldn't give birth again in the future. Although he was shocked by this news, he immediately said, "No matter what, I love you. And nothing is impossible." But the more gentle and considerate he is, the more guilty Anjali's heart is. So that evening, Anjali not only prepared a lavish dinner, but also took Mike after dinner to the top of the mountain where they first saw the sunrise. The golden sunset shone on their beautiful faces. Suddenly, Anjali praised Mike. Then, under the witness of heaven and earth, they made a declaration of love. "I love you." It's just that early in the morning, Anjali left Mike's life this time. Mike did not choose to look for her because he understood that Anjali had to complete self-cultivation or he would not be really happy. Anjali, who was alone, had a harder time than he imagined. When Anjali first came to New York, Anjali found a job as a chef although she was busy every day. Fortunately, her life was peaceful. But one day, a fire suddenly burned down her cafe. It was thought to be just an accident. Unexpectedly, it was the pervert Anjali who came to her. It turned out that since he knew that Anjali had run away, Anjali not only killed the woman who helped him escape, but also never stopped looking for him. Now that he's gone, the evil idea of forcing a marriage made Anjali lose her previous anger. Instead, Anjali was happy and happy. Soon, Anjali was brought back to the place where they first met. Here, everyone dreams of death. I just want to be happy now. I don't care about tomorrow because I'm going to be killed that day. So Anjali was rushed into the bedroom first. I didn't expect to see an 8 or 9-year-old girl at that moment. A nightmare-like memory swept through her mind and made her fall to the ground painfully. But when the makeup was about to be put on the stage, she suddenly thought of her mother and Mike. She clearly remembered that her mother was also a devout Christian before her death and wore a cross on her body every day. At that time, Anjali, who was still young, thought that as long as she prayed sincerely, God would definitely help her mother and son get through the difficulties. So when her mother was sick, she kept praying for God's help. But in the end, her mother still let go. From then on, Anjali no longer believed in God. Until she met Mike in the middle of the night, she began to think again about the meaning of God's existence. God is not a doorman who can't help you realize your dreams directly, but can give you guidance and courage, make you dare to face or even overcome difficulties. Like Anjali at this moment, even if she has become a fish on the chopping board, she has to try her best to fight for a chance to live for the girls who are suffering. She only saw that she was calm and looked down at the beast who wanted to eat her. Then she calmly said, "The princess likes little girls, and now there are 2 of them locked up upstairs." Although in the days of Xiaoping and Bu Xiaochang, most people did not care about morality, but Doraemon was not a child. No matter when everyone shouted, but Anjali was fearless and couldn't shake the power of the Doraemon. Soon, the audience was pacified and reintegrated into the party. Anjali was dragged upstairs by the Doraemon who was angry and locked up. Before going on stage, the Doraemon warned Anjali not to play tricks again, otherwise death would be her end. Anjali thought she would definitely die this time, but when the Doraemon was about to shoot, a tall black man stopped her. It turned out that the black man was also under the stage just now. He thought Anjali couldn't lie, so he quietly followed the Doraemon. Anjali was in a hurry to run to the next door and open the door, because he was going to leave with 2 girls. However, at this time, the Doraemon's big hand came over. In a hurry, Anjali pulled up the iron stick and threw it at the Doraemon, and then dragged the girls downstairs. Then he rushed into the dark night and disappeared. After seeing that there was really a girl, the Doraemon, who was very happy, suddenly became a judge and hanged the most inescapable Doraemon in front of the door. 3 years later, the Doraemon, who had just come back from a business trip, saw a familiar figure far away, but before he could see it clearly, the other party walked into a shelter. In order to confirm whether the person was alive or not, the Doraemon followed him in. As expected, Anjali was here. Now she is completely free, while receiving free education in the shelter and making money in the restaurant. Although life is not rich, she is very satisfied. And the Doraemon remarried, and soon there will be a new life. Because they didn't see each other for many years, the 2 of them said a few words first. Then the Doraemon suddenly said emotionally that you mocked me in the town 3 years ago and made me realize my mistake. At that time, I really wanted to apologize to you, but I couldn't gather up the courage. Although it's too late now, I still hope you can forgive me. After Anjali heard it, she suddenly had a feeling like a song. It seems that the time in the town has been more than a century. It is said that the love and hatred of ancient stars will disappear in the long river of time. Anjali thinks it's right. Because she insulted her own Doraemon again, she didn't have any waves in her heart, let alone forgive or not forgive. But in order to make the other person feel better, she still said I forgave you a long time ago. However, when Doraemon mentioned Mike, she had a calm face, but suddenly she was a little flustered. Doraemon continued to say that since you left, Mike has always lived alone. Although he didn't say it, we all know that his love for you has never stopped. He is always waiting for you to come home. After hearing this, Anjali's panic became pain. At first, she thought she would hear that Mike had been married and had children. Unexpectedly, the other person was like her and never let go of their feelings. But the reason why Anjali chose to leave many years ago was to make Mike forget himself and find a pure and kind woman and have a few cute children. If the purpose is not achieved, what is the point of leaving without telling her? In an instant, Anjali felt that her heart was like being bent and the blood flowed more than under the cover of the sunset. The endless green was also dyed with a layer of golden yellow, and Mike, who was also shocked, was riding a horse and carrying a pear. Suddenly, he wanted to hear the call and turned his head, and Anjali, holding an umbrella, stood not far away. Then, Anjali put down the umbrella and raised her skirt. Step by step, she walked to Mike and said, "My real name is Sarah. After my mother passed away, I never told anyone because this is the only thing I have and no one can take away from me. But now I am willing to give my true self to you completely because I love you very much." Faced with Anjali's deep confession, Mike could no longer contain his inner impulse. He took off the ring on his little finger and proposed to Anjali again. And Anjali not only said yes, but also promised that as long as she lived, she would never take off the ring again. "Welcome home, Sarah. I've always loved you. It was a good time again." Sarah, who was once judged infertile, now not only has a son, but also has another life in her womb. As Mike said, everything is possible in life. Who can love me like this? It was directed by DJ Kalu, starring Abigail F. Cohen and Tom Lee Weiss. It is a love movie set in 2022. The novel of the same name was forced to fall into the red dust. After meeting Mike, who loves himself like a saint, he came up with the idea of fighting fate, and with the help of Mike, he did escape hell and live a peaceful life with his wife. But the dark past is like a nightmare and never lets Anjali go. And Anjali didn't want to get dirty. The dance should have a bright future for Mike. So she chose to leave. Fortunately, she finally cut off the source of the nightmare and returned to Mike with a new but real self. Many people think that a man like Mike can't exist in the world. In fact, rather than saying that Mike is a person, it is better to say that he is the messenger of God. His appearance is to guide and help Anjali to break free from the shackles of fate and find his true self. And Anjali gradually understood the guidance of God. Only the self can welcome the new life. Maybe when others are in trouble, they will give you advice to guide you. But it is impossible to save you from the fire. After all, Master Lin Jingmen practices in person. If you don't go to the fire, how can you aspire to be reborn? Standing by the river of time, looking back at the legend of the sea, to the history of the Great Rain, every crossing of human civilization tells the truth of self-saving. When digital currency rewrites traditional life, when technology rebuilds social order, we need more courage to save ourselves than ever before. Only when you become an architect of your own destiny can you build your own lighthouse. Well, that's all for today's movie. Welcome to like, comment, and forward. I'm Shark. Looking forward to meeting you next time.